Two balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. This is way back. Walk the ball. Let's
What's up, everyone? Welcome into DodgerHeads Live, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined tonight by Anthony Witrado, here for a little home run derby live post-game show, I guess. But let's not bury the lead here. Teoscar Hernandez, home run derby champion, the first Dodger ever to win it. $1 million is his. Anthony, incredible stuff from Teo.
You know how I feel about Teo. He's one of my favorite, like in a half a season, one of my all-time favorite Dodgers. So happy to see him win it. And he looked like he was enjoying himself. He looked like he wanted to win. Some guys sort of maybe go through the motions once in a while, but I loved it, man. His wife was sitting next to him. It was a cool night. I really enjoyed that home run derby.
Look, it was funny to sort of watch this whole thing play out. We're going to get into all sorts of stuff tonight. Thank you to everybody joining us live all the way, as always, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. We're going to talk through the derby. We're going to talk Teoscar Hernandez. We're going to talk the new format. We'll talk anthem singer maybe for a few seconds. We'll talk all-time Los Angeles Dodgers. If you had to draft a home run derby team, who would you draft? I think Teoscar might be moving up those rankings a little bit from where they started. But the thing that struck me, Anthony, is if we just rewound the tape and went back and looked at some Dodgers fans' text threads after Teoscar Hernandez finished his first round, it was kind of like, you know what? Best case scenario was, you know what? He did himself proud. Like, it not going to win anything. Dodgers tend to struggle in this. He got 19, but he sneaks through as the number 4 seed, top 4 advance after the final two guys, Ozuna and Henderson, both bomb out. Then he puts up an okay number in the semifinals, gets into a swing off and wins it. And then even in the finals, it gets to Bobby Witt, and you're like, okay, like this might be where the story ends, right? And then Witt hits it off the wall. It didn't feel like he dominated this competition, but hey, the goal is to be the last man standing. Teoscar crushed it every time he needed a big one. Every time it felt like the pressure was on, He came up, and it was just awesome to see as a Dodgers fan who, Anthony, look, we've seen our guys absolutely fail in this space time and time again. Teoscar did us right.
Yeah, I mean, didn't someone get shut out? Was it Piazza? I thought someone got shut out.
There were some bad ones. I do think Piazza had put up a 0 at one point. Mookie Betts did not have a great run. I don't think Puig had a great night there either. So there's been some rough ones.
There has been. I didn't think he was going to get out of like any of the rounds.
No.
Like when I looked at his totals, when he was done with his run, and every round it was like, I don't think that's getting out of this round, and the guy wins it.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you go through kind of like the live updates of this and just sort of who did what as the thing came on. And Hernandez was right in the middle of kind of where like the order there, but you just saw the guys coming up behind him and you're like, okay, he finishes with 19. You got Pete Alonso, Jose Ramirez, Ozuna, Henderson, all coming up behind you. I believe he was in third place after the first 4 guys. And yet he just gets, I don't want to say lucky. The guys that maybe a lot of people expected to do well behind him. Alonso's a mess. Ozuna was a mess. Gunnar Henderson was 0 for his first 15. And so he sort of sneaks through. And then all of a sudden you're like, all right, Alec Baum is kind of the guy you want to see in the second round.
I think in that first round too, it was like 2 of the first 3 guys were in the 20s.
Yeah.
I think. And it's like, okay, not only is Alonso left, but there's still 4 more guys. 2 more guys probably hit 19, 20 at least.
Because to your point, new format, we had no concept of what a good number was. So Baum hits 21, Witt goes 20, Adolis Garcia hits 18, and Hernandez hits 19. So after the first 4, he's in third place. And you could make a case that Alonso, Ozuna, and Henderson were 3 of the biggest favorites in this competition. So you're thinking third out of fourth with those 3 and Jose Ramirez coming up after, not great. Alonso goes 12, so he's still there. Ramirez hits 21. So now with 2 guys left, Hernandez is on the cut line. Ozuna 16, Henderson 11, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, not only did we survive, but then it's Alec Baum, who's the semifinal matchup, who you'd rather face him than Witt Jr. or Jose Ramirez at that point. Like I said, they go into the semifinals. He gets 16 in this, or excuse me, it was 14 in the semifinals. Baum can't match it. Baum, I believe, had all 3 of his bonus swings left and didn't get any. Is that right? Yeah, had 0 for 3 in the bonus round. So he gets shut out. So then you got the swing off. Teoscar goes out, homer, and then Baum has nothing. So he advances, and then you're like, holy smokes, he's really going to do this. But Bobby Witt was like Jeff Passan. This was his pick. This is a guy who's won the high school home run derby. And so you're like, all right, what do we really have here? Teoscar has 4 at the halfway point. He hits 2 straight after the timeout. 5 of his first 6 swings after the timeout were home runs. That
timeout was huge.
7 home runs after the break. Then he goes to the bonus round, 450-foot bomb, first one. And then it's pop out, line out, home run, pop out. And then Bobby Witt, same spot, 4 home runs, calls his timeout, gets to 11, but absolutely can't do anything in the bonus round. It was the 3 that he hit in the bonus round that were the difference between him and Bobby Witt.
Yeah, definitely. The ball that Witt hit, because he didn't start off great, right? I think his first 2 swings were not homers. And then he hits that one to get the extra out. And I was like, ooh, no. And he hits the second one in a row. I think he hit 2 consecutive, he hit two in a row. And it was like, oh boy, that extra out's going to be huge. And then I thought it was a bad pitch selection, and he almost got it out still. But that was cool, man. Like, to see that ball land and not go out from Witt, that was a cool feeling. Like, it's not the ultimate goal, but it's great to see a guy like Teo kind of get something like that on the national stage. I thought it was really cool that Vlad Guerrero Jr. had his jersey on, was cheering him on. Clearly they're boys. But going for the National League guy, his buddy, his countryman. I thought that was nice. It kind of shows, I think, the guys in Toronto probably felt the same way about Teoscar as the people in LA do. So cool, very, very cool to see him do that. I honestly will say I did not expect it. And every time he kind of squeaked through to the next round, I was like, oh, okay, all right, nice. It's going to be a good showing then. It was kind of like that.
It's found money once he got through the semifinals.
Yeah, for sure.
I do want to just real quick, the ending of this, I think, like, the drama of it was great. And I want to ask you what you thought of the new format in a second. But for Witt to basically get to 11, and he needs 3 home runs in the bonus round, and he goes pop out, line out, and you're thinking, all right, great. He doesn't even have the extra ball. Well, then with down to his last swing, hits a 450-foot absolute tank to center field, gets the extra one, hits another home run. So now you're thinking, okay, he's got 2 swings, just needs 1 home run, but then it flips, line out, and then to your point, to the deepest part of the park, halfway up the wall, would have been for the tie, doesn't go out. So incredible stuff from Teoscar. Shout out to Matt Zimmerman here, by the way, with the super chat. Teoscar is fire, low-key Dodger first half MVP. As far as if you're basing MVP as the gap between maybe what expectations were and how you've performed, it's hard to argue that there's been anybody else that's been more of a pleasant surprise and a guy who's stepped up big in a way that the Dodgers clearly needed. And I mean, let me ask you this. This might seem like a stupid question, Anthony. I'm always open to asking questions and being told they're stupid. But like for a week of as bad of Dodgers news as we've had, the vibes could not have been worse the last 7 to 10 days in Dodgers land. Like, is there any chance that winning the home run derby, I'm not saying it's going to swing a victory here or there, but just from a pure vibes perspective, this has to be a good thing, right?
I think so. I mean, you saw his teammates out there in the first rounds, and then Tyler Glasnow out there late with them. I think that it's a testament to sort of his standing in that clubhouse, and to see him win it probably means something because of who he is and his personality. So, they come back, everyone's going to talk about it. He's going to have the trophy, and, I'm sure it'll be by his locker or whatever, and everybody will have some fun with it. So yeah, maybe it does, and like you said, it's a good way to sort of shift the vibes. Yes, it's the break. So you come back. All right. We're starting over and, we're rebooted here, but to have something like that carry into that second half, maybe it's a good vibes thing because everybody does seem to really like Teoscar Hernandez, not just as in the fan base, but I think in that clubhouse too. He started the seed celebration for home runs. Like it's just stuff like that has continued. And since he's gotten there, I wouldn't be surprised if it gives them a little bit of a boost. I mean, at least on day one.
Yeah, it's just a refresher, right? It's like midway through the meal, you take a sip of something that cleanses the palate a little bit. Maybe this was the break plus the positive vibes of the storyline when they all get back is going to be Teoscar winning the home run derby, the trophy, the $1 million that he won, all that. So Matt, thank you for the super chat. Hawaiian Kira, an important note as well. She said, Teo exceeding expectations. Kudos to Dino Ebel as well. And Dino deserves some credit here, right? Like, I think in the first round, there were some people that were maybe a little bit critical of Dino's ability to pitch, but like Bobby Witt, I felt like had the worst pitcher, maybe outside of Pete Alonso, who his guy's normally great. I mean, Witt's guy was a mess. Dino, to his credit, semifinals and finals, he was dialed in. Just about every pitch was perfect, and he helped his guy out.
Yeah, I thought the pitches that were down and in and then middle in, Teo's bat path was really just finding those, and they looked effortless. Everything else, I think he was struggling with. And it took a while for Dino, I think, to get into that groove, because the first round, he was not very good. But I will say this, in the finals, he was solid. And then you look at Bobby Witt's guy, and he did not do him one single favor in that championship round. That was bad. Yeah.
Well, and part of this goes to one of the questions I wanted to ask you is just kind of your take on the format of this. So it was a new format with the 40 pitches in 3 minutes. It's the pitch. It's not how many takes. And obviously, the idea, I'm assuming, is they don't want guys just standing up there taking pitches. They want more swings. They want more action, but they also want to give the guys a little bit more of a break so that they have a little more freshness as the competition goes on. What was your evaluation of this new format, maybe at the beginning of the competition and now that it's over?
I liked it. I wasn't sure, like, when they announced it, what it would be like, how it would play out, but I actually liked it. I thought it was cool. They gave most guys enough time to complete the 40 swings. I think Teo left balls in the basket every round, if I'm remembering.
At least right. The first, it felt like he had 2 or 3 that were left in there. I think another guy had 1. I don't remember semis or finals if he had any left.
I think in the finals he left like 1 or 2, and it was because he had to rush to get like the last 2 swings in.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I thought it made it a little exciting. It felt more like a kind of a buzzer beating thing than like unlimited pitches and just the clock by itself. So because you had the pitch count, I thought that was cool. And then I really liked the bonus round where it was swings and not pitches, or it was outs, I should say. And if you kept hitting them, you kept going. I like that format. And then the bonus ball for 425 or whatever the distance was. I thought it was good. I think that keep it. Let's see how it plays for one more year. They've really struggled with the format of this thing. You don't want it to be 4 hours long like it's been in the past. But you don't want it to seem like a rinky-dink thing. So I thought this was a pretty good sort of meet in the middle kind of format. Like I said, I think, probably don't change it. I mean, they might tweak it here or there, but I think overall it was pretty good.
Yeah. It was interesting because after the first round, I was like, man, this feels really slow. And part of that could have been just because the last 3 of the last 4 guys all sucked. So it was like you've been watching it for 30 minutes and then all of a sudden Pete Alonso's trash. And then it's Ozuna's not very good. And then Gunnar Henderson was an absolute disaster, who was my pick to win it. Shout out to him for finishing dead last out of 8. But I felt like once it hit the semifinals was when the format kind of picked up the pace a little bit. So that could have been just the guys that I was watching. Or maybe there's a way to tighten up the first round and then let the rest of it go for it.
Yeah. But I think part of it too is like there's 8 guys in the first round. So watching, it doesn't matter what the format is. Watching 8 guys go through it is just, it's long. It's going to be long. But like, you can't really you can't knock it down to 4. Like that's too little. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think you take the bad with the good there. But yeah, you're right. It slowed down a little bit. The guys weren't very good toward the end, so that didn't help it. But I think also it was just like, okay, let's move on to the next round sort of thing. But like I said, I think that's just it's the fact that you got 8 guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, shout out to everybody joining us live. Almost 1,200 people here. Not even a Dodgers game. It's a home run derby. Of course, a Dodger ends up winning it. Shout out to Teoscar Hernandez, the first Dodger to ever win a home run derby. Again, we're going to play a fun game here in just a few minutes and draft our favorite LA Dodger home run hitters to put together the best home run derby lineup that we possibly can. A couple other notes about this, Anthony. I've just got to mention it. The national anthem, it became a talking point on the broadcast. I shouldn't say on the broadcast so much as on social media. Look, we've all heard some folks sing the national anthem in a way that maybe wasn't the most pleasing to the ears. I've heard a lot of people say that might have been the worst ever. It's hard to argue with it, I guess. When they introduce her as 4-time Grammy nominee and then she sings like that, it's tough to reconcile those two things.
I had never heard of the person, and they said that she was a Grammy nominee, and I was like, okay, but I'm sure she'll be fine.
4-time Grammy nominee.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm sure she'll be fine. And then I was kind of not paying attention, and so like I heard part of it, and I was like, she's not great, like whatever, not a big deal. And then she was trying to hit the high notes in the second half of the anthem, and it was like I turned around and stopped what I was doing and watched it, and I was like, is this as bad as I'm hearing? And it was horrible. I mean, it was so bad. Like I think I tweeted this too. Like at least Carl Lewis like had an excuse. Like he's a track and field athlete. He's not
I see somebody saying, was it Roseanne Barr bad? Again, Roseanne Barr wasn't introduced as a 4-time Grammy nominee. So that's the difference.
Yeah, I think there's levels to this, right? There's levels to this. She was this is her profession. And she was, I mean, the fact that Carl Lewis and Roseanne Barr are being invoked in this conversation tells you how bad she was. Yeah, she was, as far as I've heard, she was the worst as a singer as I've ever heard do the national anthem.
And on this stage, like this wasn't just a Tuesday night at Dodger Stadium. This was in Texas. And, my joke is I think she was more songwriter than singer. They'd introduced her as a singer-songwriter. I think maybe she's a songwriter sometimes coming for. Yeah. She probably wrote a couple songs, but it was rough. We'll leave it there. Somebody says, where was Mo Cheeks when we needed him? Shout out to Portland Trail Blazers. Mo Cheeks coming over and helping the girls sing the national anthem was a great moment. So here we go. Eddie says MLB really screwed up allowing that anthem. That's going to take the headlines over Teo winning. Look, here's the good news. I don't think it's going to take away the headlines. I think it's a punchline, but none of us are going to forget that Teoscar won it. But it does make me wonder, like, how does this happen? I mean, I work at sporting events.
I think Eddie's right. I think Eddie's a little bit right. Casual fans are going to be talking about the anthem tomorrow. Not baseball fans will be talking about Teo.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And again, like, it just blows my mind. Like, how do you let this happen? In some ways, it's probably easier to let it happen at the All-Star game, because if you're like the Texas Rangers or the Dodgers or whoever, you probably have a day when you do tryouts, you get all these people together, they all come, they perform, and then you go through it. Whereas the All-Star game, you're probably not setting it up that way. It's probably more of just working with agents, and it's like, hey, she'll do it, 4-time Grammy nominee, great. There's probably not a huge screening process. I wonder, Anthony, if that's going to change. Like, do you think somebody at MLB texted their boss and said, hey, who do we have singing the anthem tomorrow? Did you say, like, who's singing it before the All-Star game? Can we get a sound check on that person? It was brutal. Again, I don't want to take any attention away from Teoscar Hernandez, but I felt like the anthem, needed to be mentioned. Here's another super chat. Now the world. Have you seen Dodger fans crying on Instagram because Teo team wasn't there? I swear Dodger fans cry about anything and everything. I have seen this, Anthony. People wondering, like, why is it only Glass now? Ohtani was there in the first round and then kind of faded to the back. Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, the other guys who were at the event but not present.
Freddie was out there for a little bit.
And look, Freddie's got kids, so I imagine, maybe there's a moment where he has to go take care of his kids or something like that. Will Smith doesn't feel like a big spotlight guy. Doesn't feel like he's going to be out there giving pep talks to his guy Teoscar. I mean, we used to do a segment, big deal or no deal. Big deal or no deal that Glasnow was the only Dodgers teammate out there sort of cheering on Teoscar Hernandez in the semis and the finals.
No deal. I will say this. If nobody was out there, that would have been bad. If he would have just had to rely on Vlad Jr. to be out there for him, that would have been bad. But no, Tyler was out there, no deal. I didn't think anything of it, in all honesty. Like, when I saw that and when I saw Ohtani was gone and Freddie was gone, I didn't really think too much of it. No deal.
The chat says big deal. We got a lot of big deals in the chat, Anthony.
Okay. I asked the chat this. So what? What is that? Like, clearly everybody loves the guy on the team. Like, what is the impact of only Tyler Glasnow being there? What impact does that have? Because if it doesn't have an impact, it's no deal.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think there's, I love this from Jose. Trust me, he doesn't care. His wife was there. Glasnow was there. His buddy Vlad was there.
He made $1 million. He doesn't give a damn.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Look, I do think there was something cool about looking over to the Phillies and seeing Harper and seeing Trey Turner and seeing, their whole crew kind of hanging out, being there together. If there was a concern about like Teoscar's standing in the clubhouse and whether or not he was a liked teammate, then I think you could make a big deal. Like there's none of that.
Yeah, I
Him
agree.
and Shohei Ohtani are like best friends, and Ohtani had to left after, had to. I say had to. I don't know what he had to do, but he left after the first one.
Yeah. And look, I can guarantee you, I'm telling you now, I can guarantee you, as somebody who's covered a bunch of all-star games, when you're the face of the sport and around the world, and let's make no mistake, Shohei Ohtani is the face of Major League Baseball globally. Yeah. Maybe not the North American face, but globally he is. He's got obligations, and we don't know what he's got to do tomorrow, or even tonight if he had something to do tonight. Don't know where, I don't know if Mookie was even in the ballpark tonight. Yeah. Who knows? So, I've seen some comments that say it's probably not a big deal, but it's just odd or whatever. But like, it's not that odd. Like these guys have obligations, especially the Dodgers have superstars. Yeah. And the superstar guys have obligations on a week like this. Their schedule isn't just go chill, hang out. It's a little hectic. Like in all honesty, I was surprised to see some of the bigger, like Bryce Harper hanging out. Like I was a little surprised there because usually those guys do dip out. We just don't probably notice it because we don't always have Dodgers in this thing.
Yeah. Hey, look, you ready for this, Anthony? Maybe if they would have stuck around, Teoscar would have lost. Maybe it was actually looked like when you threw the right ingredients into the pot and he came out the winner, Anthony. I'm not trying to mess with the chemistry that we had going on. Maybe he just needed his wife. Maybe if Freddie's there, then he's not listening as much to Vladdy and he doesn't have as much success. Maybe Dino's sweating a couple extra bullets. I mean, come on, this is what I'm thinking, Anthony.
I mean, what would you rather have? Every teammate he had show up and he gets knocked out in the first round, or the guy wins it and he just has Tyler with them?
Yeah. Look, there would have been people blaming Mookie Betts if he was there and Teoscar didn't win. So let's just be glad that Teoscar won.
Mookie, you lost.
Yeah, exactly. Distracting, he's trying to take away the shine from somebody else, whatever. Who cares? The Dodgers won. Teoscar Hernandez won. A great moment for the Dodgers. Again, thank you. Almost 1,400 people joining us live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. Thank you to the Super Chats, Matt, Hawaiian Kira, Eddie, and Now the World 138. We greatly appreciate you all as well. Again, crazy drama in the home run derby. If you missed it, please go back and watch. You can skip through the first round. Again, when he finished, Teoscar was in second place out of 3. The next guy passed him, so he was in third place out of 4 with 4 hitters to go, including Pete Alonso, Jose Ramirez, Marcell Ozuna, and Gunnar Henderson. 3 of those 4, Alonso, Ozuna, and Henderson, all do terribly, finish behind him. He squeaks in to the semifinal round, gets a little bit of a break. Bobby Witt crushes the first half of the semifinal. Teoscar Hernandez finishes with, I believe, just 14 home runs in the semifinals. Witt won his round with 17, so you're thinking, all right, is 14 going to be enough? Well, Alec Bohm, after just 3 at the break, ties it heading into the bonus round, goes 0 for 3 in the bonus round. They have a swing off. Teoscar goes 2 for 3. Bohm goes 1 for 3. Teoscar advances. Again, in the finals, he finishes with 14 total home runs, and Bobby Witt, with a chance to tie it on his last swing, hits it halfway up the wall in dead center field. Great stuff for Teoscar Hernandez. Again, he went $1 million. His wife was there. He gets the trophy. He had the big chain. He was getting water dumped on him by the Dodgers employees and players that were still around. So great stuff all around. Anthony, I asked you before this, we weren't sure if we were going to have a ton of Teoscar Hernandez content or not to talk about tonight. So we're like, let's think of some fun exercises. I think the folks in the chat are going to get a kick out of this. But I asked you, I said, if we did an LA Dodgers only, so we're not going back to Brooklyn, LA Dodgers only home run derby draft. We alternate picks. We each pick 4. You get the best home run derby participants. Doesn't have to be the best home run derby, the home run hitter that the Dodgers have ever had. It's not like, well, this guy had the most home runs, so Eric Karros is definitely on the list because LA Dodger home run. None of that. Yeah. It's just best home run derby players. I think I told you they have to be a Dodger for like more than 2 years, except current Dodgers count. So Teoscar's eligible, Ohtani's eligible, all of that. And those are the rules. We'll just leave it right there. So I'm going to give you first pick, which at one point I thought was going to be easy. But, I mean, are you really not going to pick the guy that just won the home run derby, Anthony? So I'll defer to you. You get first pick. Give me your first choice in the LA Dodgers home run derby draft.
number 37, $1 million man, Teo.
Okay, good man. You got it. You had to take Teoscar Hernandez there. So kudos to you. I'm taking Ohtani. Ohtani's on the Dodgers. I mean, Ohtani's probably the one guy in the world that if you had been like, I know Teoscar just won the home run derby, but I'll take Ohtani, I'd have been like, it's hard to argue with it. So you take Teoscar, I'll take Ohtani. You got third pick. Go for it. A bunch of guys still out there. You've got guys that have had success in the home run derby. You've got great home run hitters who have failed miserably in the home run derby. So where are you going to go next?
I'll take Jock.
Okay, Jock was next on my list.
In the finals.
Yeah,
was it semifinals?
Yeah, to Todd Frazier. They were talking about it tonight.
Yeah. I'll take Jock. He performed well in it.
Okay, Jock's a great one. I'm gonna zag a little. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a deep cut here. Give me Gary Sheffield as my next pick. The bat waggle. I mean, I don't even know if it works in the home run derby, but I freaking loved watching Gary Sheffield swing a bat. So give me Gary Sheffield, second pick. I've got Ohtani. I've got Sheffield. You've got Teo and Jock.
I'll hit you with the zig then.
Okay.
All right. Disappointed as a Dodger. He never participated in the Derby, but I gotta think the smooth swing plays over the course of that many balls.
Okay.
Darryl Strawberry.
Wow. Okay. Darryl Strawberry not on my list, but kudos to you. You're going Darryl Strawberry third. Okay. With my third pick, I've got a lot of guys left. We might have to extend this a little bit. I'm going single season LA Dodgers home run record holder. Most home runs any LA Dodgers ever hit in a season. Give me Sean Green. Sean Green's going to be my third pick. I know all the comments that were. Look, I'm taking Sean Green. All right. There's lots of good players left. I get it. 49 in a season for Sean Green. 4 home runs in a game. He was awesome in a really crappy stretch of Dodger baseball. So Sean Green's my third pick. Let's do, if you've got it, let's do 5 each because I've got lots of guys on my list. So
all right,
you got
cool.
Your fourth pick here. Who you got?
Well, I'm surprised it's taken this long, right? But I'll take Mike Piazza.
Okay, Piazza. We were joking. Zero. How does Zero perform? That's the hard part with this competition is there's some guys that you think would be good, but we've actually seen them fail.
Well, I'm assuming this was pre-juice for Mike.
So
he would have been juicing by the time he got into this derby that I'm picking him for. So he'd have been ready.
Okay. There's lots of options on here. And I think I'm going to win a popularity vote with this one when I say this name out loud. And it's too bad my guy Scott is no longer in the chat because he'd give this a double thumbs up and be mad it waited this long. Give me Matt Kemp in the 4 spot. Look, again, maybe not the perfect candidate, but
he hitting it, didn't he, before?
I couldn't remember. I mean, these guys all did so terribly that it's a lot of forgettable performances. I feel like he must have at some point.
I thought he did and was not very good, but
okay. Could have been.
I could just be PTSD from like a bunch of Dodgers not doing well.
All right. Somebody in the chat. Let me see. I'll see if we can find it while I look. So we each get one more pick. Here we go. History of Dodgers.
Underpants says Kemp hit 3 and 2 home run derbies.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Kemp continued the streak of Dodger Flamers underperforming. 2 home runs, good for last place. Got a chance to redeem himself in 12. He fell short. As if things couldn't have gotten worse, he finished with 1 home run on the evening. Can I change my pick? Am I allowed to alter that?
No, you got Sean.
I'm stuck with Kemp. 3 home runs in 2. I apologize, everybody. That was an F- pick by me. So we got one each left. I've got some good names on here, so I like my chances.
Okay. I got one more pick, right?
Yeah, we each got one more.
We each got one more pick. Okay. Karros is on the table, I think, right?
Very much on the table. He's all yours if you want him, Anthony.
Yeah,
I got 5 or 6 guys on my list. Eric Karros not on my list.
Oh man. I see a lot of Raul Mondesi on here. We're gonna have to bail him out.
It's not the right week to be picking Raul Mondesi in a draft.
This guy wasn't a home run hitter, but I think he could do well in this format. Rafael Furcal.
Wow. I did not expect to see Furcal. I loved Furcal. Great defensive player. Maybe just a little bat speed or something.
If it's BP, I have a feeling like that guy, he can get him.
Yeah. I see some people saying Manny, Hanley Ramirez. Manny wasn't around long enough in the criteria that I gave Anthony. We talked about guys that were here for a couple of years.
Muncie's a good one.
Muncie's a guy that I was looking at. I'll take Adrian Beltre with my 5th pick. He was there. I mean, Mookie didn't get picked. Puig didn't get picked. Corey Seager, Cody Bellinger. These were all guys that were available. Yeah. So there we go. There's our draft. We'll compile lists later, and we'll let social media decide who won that one. I see Pujols again. Pujols wasn't there long enough. Thank you. You want to know?
Joey Gallo wasn't there long enough.
Yeah, sorry, Blake. I mean, anonymous person running the account tonight. Joey Gallo, yeah, not available. I love somebody on Twitter posted like, who's the worst player that would win a home run derby? And I think it was a Dodgers account I follow, Bruce, maybe, I'm not positive, but he said Edwin Rios. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Edwin Rios,
wow.
Absolute tanks in a home run derby. So,
well, David Sabatini's over here roasting me, saying it's not a bunt contest.
Look, the Furcal one is going to get you some heat. I'm going to be honest. Furcal's going to get you some heat. I think there were a lot of places you could have gone to play it safe, but I respect, I said I zagged with Gary Sheffield. You zagged, out into left field, I think.
Yeah, it's not a zig or a zag if you still pick a power hitter, like one of the top 20 all-time home run leaders.
There you go.
Balco guy.
Yeah, exactly. Grayson said Teoscar beats future Dodger Bobby Witt Jr. So
there you go.
I think it was Juan Soto at media today said that who's the guy you want to play with, and he said Ohtani. I don't know if you know this, Anthony. Juan Soto's a free agent, and the Dodgers don't have a ton of guys locked up in the outfield moving forward. So just throwing that one out there.
So I have heard, and so has every social media platform very loudly today.
Yeah. Oh, famous New York Yankee player who's one of the better hitters of all time talks about wanting to play with the Dodgers' greatest player, Shohei Ohtani. Interesting. You're going to say that might make a couple of headlines, you think, Anthony?
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
Bob Nightingale has a submission for the worst player who could win a home run derby, AJ Ellis. So I'm not sure. I mean, he beat Austin Barnes. He'd beat warning track power Austin Barnes. And I told Matt, they showed the video, and I'm blanking on exactly where this takes place. They do a home run derby. They have a bunting competition, which, Matt Moreno. Is it Korea?
I think it's
Matt,
Korea.
Big small ball guy. I think Austin Barnes, that's his key to fame, is we got to get the bunting competition here. I could see Barnesy sort of making a name for himself in that competition.
He might strike out bunting.
Yeah, just a bunch of foul pop-ups. So there you go. Let us know what you think. Who won that draft? Yeah, let's talk All-Star game real quick. Then we'll get to some questions. All-Star game tomorrow. Paul Skeens pitching is freaking awesome. I mean, like, I know there's probably somewhere screaming and crying about how many appearances he's made and all that. He's the biggest thing happening in the sport right now. He's awesome. He has to be starting this game. I love it.
Yeah, I've always thought that baseball does a bad job of recognizing the moment. That the year Puig debuted, I thought he should have been an all-star. There was no more electric player in the first half of baseball that season than him. And with Skeens, it's sort of the same situation. So good on the National League for getting him on the team, and good on them for giving him the ball. He's probably the biggest pitching story in baseball this season. So yeah, absolutely good for them for recognizing that, and maybe this is a sign of the times changing a little bit in Major League Baseball, where you kind of get rid of that old fashioned kind of thinking, and you go with what's hot, and you go what's going to draw some eyeballs and get people talking. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, the only person I think that could probably complain is Chris Sale. You look at this season he's had: 13-3, 2.7 ERA, 3.7 wins above replacement. I mean, the next guy up in wins above replacement is Christopher Sanchez, who's way down at 7th in Major League Baseball. So it felt like
Sale's been there before, though.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it does feel like if there's a guy who could take it, it's probably a guy who, to your point, has made a few all-star teams and probably doesn't, feel the need to, to sort of force himself into that spot or be mad about it. But the rumors were that he was considered for the spot. They decided to go with Paul Skeens, and, again, kudos to them. The quote was, this was from Bob Nightingale, that there was had a source that said MLB likely would have overruled manager Torey Lovillo and made Skeens the starter anyway. Skeens was going to be the starter even before his 7 no-hit innings in his last start Wednesday. So the reports that Major League Baseball was basically going to say, hey, this is what's good for ratings. This is what's good for baseball. This is who we want.
Did someone put Manfred in a closet? That's not that kind of progressive thinking is not Major League Baseball's New York office's forte.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Interesting stuff there. Shohei Ohtani batting second for the National League and starting. Teoscar Hernandez batting eighth. Any big expectations for either of them? Starters usually get a couple of at-bats, especially Ohtani batting near the top. We'll see if Teoscar gets more than one or two, but any big expectations for them or Freddie Freeman, Will Smith?
It'd be cool if Teoscar hit a homer. Cool. That'd be nice for him. But no, I would imagine at least those top guys, those big name dudes, they're probably going to get 3 at bats. I would say.
Yeah.
So no, I don't have any big time expectations. It's an all-star game. You never know how this thing kind of goes. Sometimes it goes off the rails a little bit, like Randy Johnson, John Kruk type of situations. But I mean, obviously you always want the Dodger guys to perform well. It's always cool when they're able to do that. Are they doing all-star uniforms this year, or are they dressing in their regular stuff?
That's a great question. I've seen a couple different options, so I feel like it feels more team-centric than it normally is.
I don't recall, but if not, they need to let the guys just wear their uniforms. That was part of the cool factor of the Major League Baseball.
They've got the hat. They've got their own team, basically a version of the hat. But other than that, they're wearing just a National League and an American League jersey. Although I will say these jerseys kind of look cool. I'm with you. I wish it were their normal team jerseys. Let the AL wear home jerseys and the NL wear road jerseys or something like that. But
so I mean, I'll take your word for it that these aren't bad. Maybe they're not, but they're not better than letting every guy wear their own uniform. That part of it was cool, like to look out in the field and see 9 guys wearing different jerseys like that. That was part of maybe it's just nostalgia for me, but that part of it was always like really, really fun to see. So putting them on the same stuff is just like, eh.
I'm with you. A couple more super chats here. Gabriel says Skeens has been a beast this season. Go Dodgers. Agreed. And obviously that moment with him and Ohtani strikes Ohtani out, and then Ohtani homers on 100.1 mile an hour fastball to dead center is awesome stuff. A couple more submissions for Dodgers in the home run derby. Billy Ashley would hit it out of the stadium in batting practice. He set the record for like most pinch hit home runs, I feel like, in a season. Like I don't know if Billy Ashley was ever more than a pinch hitter. In my mind, he was only ever a pinch hitter. So apologies to Billy Ashley if that's not accurate. But here's maybe my favorite submission. Now the world. Olmedo signs. Don't sleep on him. Professional hitter, Anthony. Professional hitter, Olmedo signs.
Hey, he didn't play as long as he did for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Stuck around, just bat to ball, a little old school, veteran hitter. I love it. So kudos to those. Thanks again for the super chats here. Let's get to a few questions. We'll take some, and then we'll head out here for the night. As a reminder, if you're new, we've got another live show tomorrow night. I believe it will be Blake Williams and myself after the All-Star game. And then Wednesday, we'll have another live show. Myself, Anthony Witrado, Matthew Moreno, maybe Blake Williams, to be determined if he joins us for that one. But that'll be kind of a bold predictions / food conversation on Wednesday, a little fun one with the off day. And again, if you've missed it, starting last week, every night of the week except for Saturday night, we've got live shows right here on the Dodger Blue YouTube page. So if you haven't already subscribed and ring the notification bell, please go ahead and do that. A super chat here from Hawaiian Kira. Have you seen the KBO All-Star game? They wear their team names, but the colors are the same. So one team in blue, one team in gray. What do you think of that? So what would you think about if everybody was wearing the same color jersey, but it maybe had the team's logo on the front in sort of whatever the gray or the blue or whatever? Better, worse, the same?
The same to me. Yeah. The same. Kind of the same to me. Like, if you want to have them wear it like during the home run derby, like I think they used to do that or something like that, like cool. But like for the game, like I think part of it is like having all those guys line up on first and third base lines and seeing all the different uniforms represented. Like I said, to me, that was part of like the cool factor of what the Major League Baseball All-Star game used to be. So
yeah,
you're not going to knock me off that perch, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, there's part of me that actually thinks that would be worse if you tried to make it a Dodgers jersey, but then made it look like everything else. Like I would almost say just put National League on the front. But I mean, I don't think they figured this thing out. I'm with you. I wish it was just wear your team's jersey and then maybe everyone's wearing a uniform hat or something like that. To your point about nostalgia, I think that's a fair one. But I think it's that's cool. Hawaiian Kira. I appreciate you sharing that because I did not know about that. Michael asks, who's the guy you like the most that the Dodgers drafted today? Gonna be honest, Michael. I read all the same people that you do as far as like who they drafted and who I like. We were gonna have Justin Lorber on tomorrow. That video will probably either go up tomorrow afternoon or Wednesday morning. We're trying to have Bruce from Dodgers Digest join that conversation as well. So TB determined on that. I know he was 50-50 on if he's going to be able to make it. So we hopeful that Bruce and Justin will be able to do it. They know way more than me about all these guys that were drafted. So yeah, I'll save my thoughts on the draft until I read people that are a lot smarter than me in that one. Let's see some more questions here. Ederico, can Teoscar win the All-Star Game MVP tomorrow and expectations for the Dodgers in the second half? That'd be quite the I was going to say All-Star weekend. I mean, it's Monday night and Tuesday night, but that'd be quite the midweek for Teoscar to walk away with a couple pieces of hardware.
I think it's possible for him. Like you don't have to do you have to perform, but you don't have to do a ton, right? Like let's say he hits a homer or hits a 2-run double or something like that. Maybe he throws somebody out at the plate. And he's in the running. Then all of a sudden he's in the running. So yeah, I don't think it's out of the question. That would be pretty cool. And then expectations, man. I mean, they're in first place by a bunch of games. But
here you go. I'll ask you this: divisional lead bigger or smaller when the season ends than right now? It's 7 games.
Bigger.
Okay.
It'll be bigger. Yeah, they'll still win this thing, I think, by double digits. But I was gonna say, like, can it get worse than it has been?
Yeah, it's hard to imagine.
It is hard to imagine. Like, I mean, the Dustin May news is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just it's brutal. But you got to think that they got another good hot run in them over the course of the next 75 games or whatever it is. So I expect them to win the division by double digits, and then beyond that, it's always a guessing game.
Yeah, we'll see. I think the trade deadline is going to be huge for this team, even just to get there. And regardless of what happens, for everybody to be able to take a deep breath August 1st and say, all right, this is the team we got. Now off we go and see what happens. NS question, Jeff, when are you buying your Shohei All-Star jersey, or is that Blake's job? I will not be buying a Shohei All-Star jersey. Not that for any reason other than like I have lots of baseball jerseys that I basically never wear. And so, and if I ever were to buy one, I don't think it would be an All-Star jersey. I'm trying to think of I don't think I have any sport where I have like an All-Star jersey. Sometimes the hats I think are cool, but if I was going to do like a one-off, like an All-Star game type thing, I think I would do a hat over a jersey. Anthony?
Yeah. The only piece of All-Star gear I've ever gotten was the black and gold hat from the Dodger Stadium All-Star game in 2022 or whatever it was, 23, 22. That's the only All-Star thing that I've ever bought. Probably be the only All-Star thing I ever buy unless it comes back to Dodger Stadium in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm not a jersey guy. So I definitely wouldn't buy a jersey, but I'm always looking for jerseys for my soon-to-be 2-year-old. So
there you go.
I'm down with that for her.
That's the worst though, because you spend all that money on something that they're gonna wear for like 3 months, maybe.
No, for sure. And I'll make sure she wears it like every other day.
Yeah. Like just get her 4 sizes too big and say you're wearing this for the next 3 years.
That's what I do. Sorry. Like when I bought her Jordans, like they were 2 sizes too big, and you're gonna wear them until you can't. As long as they're not too small, they fit.
Yeah. Eric says, what are the odds?
It's better than me buying a jersey that costs like 4 times as much, 5 times as much, and then just never wearing it.
Yeah, I do some stuff with the MLS team in Portland, the Portland Timbers, and I was talking to some buddies who were like, hey, we got this discount code for a jersey. I was like, oh, that's sweet. Like, I haven't gotten a jersey in a while. Like, and they're like, yeah, it's like 40% off. I'm like, well, how much does it cost after the discount? They're like $105. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I thought that number was going to be way smaller. 105. Like, I thought that was retail. That's after the 40% off. So it's crazy. That's authentic stuff. But anyways, Eric says, what are the odds Glasnow and Yamamoto are both unavailable in October? I'm not worried at all about Glasnow. Like today. Now, could something crazy happen? But like, I think we all pretty much agree this was a phantom IL stint, right?
Yeah.
Yamamoto, Yamamoto, the last update we got is that he has started a throwing progression. So again, that doesn't mean everything's awesome, but that's better news than he hasn't started throwing anything. So the odds that both are unavailable in October, I would say, are very, very, very low. Not zero, because even if they both came back, they could get injured again. But I'm not worried about Glasnow is kind of where I would land this plane, Anthony. It sounds like you agree.
I agree. I would say 20%. You run this season through October 5 times. They're both not available once, I think.
Jedi Engineer, what does the home run derby win mean for potentially signing Teo to an extension? I don't think winning the home run derby changes things, but I definitely think the Dodgers have to be very interested in signing Teoscar Hernandez. They know how he fits in the clubhouse. They've obviously seen him, what he does to a position that they have very limited options, both now and moving forward in the outfield. And look, it doesn't hurt to come to an event like this and sort of establish yourself as a more kind of like household name across the country by winning a competition like this. So I don't think this really changed anything, but obviously it didn't hurt.
No, I mean, he can't continue to slump in the second half or else that price goes down.
Yeah.
So, but I'll say this. You want me to think that it's a deal that his teammates weren't there tonight in the final? I'll say this. If he comes out end of the season and we still like him and he's still great Teo and all of that, and he goes, I just can't see myself signing back in LA because when I won the home run derby, everybody except Tyler Glasnow left me. And once that happened, I knew I was not signing there. I was all for a 4-year deal before that. And then that happened. Then I'm gone. Okay. Now it's a deal. Now it's a something.
There you go. Hawaiian Kira wants to know, are you going to be adding the Teoscar Hernandez home run derby bobblehead to your collection? I'd like to. I don't think I will. Probably because the price and availability are not going to line up for me. But I try and get all the guys. My thing is, like, I like getting guys once I know they're going to be around for a while. So
that's what I was going to say. If he signs an extension, I will hunt one down.
Yeah. And look, the home run derby one will always be cool, though, even if he's only a Dodger for 1 year, because he obviously won it. And that was an awesome moment. So there you go. Let's see if we can get one more question here. People don't like the thoughts about this isn't a big deal that nobody was there.
I know. I'm getting yelled at too.
I love it. Let's see. Well, let's talk. A couple people asked about the Soto quote. I mean, like, do you think there's any chance? We'll end on this. And again, thanks to everybody who's joining us live. Do you think there's any chance that Soto actually becomes a Dodger at the end of the season? He is a free agent.
I do think the Dodgers have a cap in mind for themselves, and signing him blows by that.
Yeah.
So I don't,
but do you think if Soto came to them and said, "Hey, I'm interested. Here's the number." Like, do you really think the Dodgers would say no for financial reasons?
With some of the deferrals, I think it's still possible. But like, if he comes to them with a number, like, you got to think that number's like $700 million and $1.
It's gonna be a big number. It's gonna be a very big number,
right? Like, I mean, he's gonna, I think that they saw that Ohtani deal and they went $700 million and $1 is where the conversation starts.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like, I think that's what they're going to aim for. Probably doesn't get that because it takes the Dodgers being there.
Yeah. And he doesn't pay.
If the Giants were serious about the offer to Ohtani, then maybe they make an offer too for Soto, something like that. But the only way I think there's a cracked window there is because of the deferred money the Dodgers have done with some of the other guys. So maybe, but I would say it's highly unlikely.
Yeah, I agree that I don't think Soto ends up a Dodger. I don't think it'll be for financial reasons. I just think he's in New York. The Yankees are going to pay him. He's playing next to Judge, who's going to hit like another, 55 to 60 home runs this season. Judge is insane. So I find it almost impossible to believe that he walks out of the Bronx and leaves to go somewhere else. Again, I think if Soto's people called the Dodgers, like, I think if he's a free agent, the Dodgers are going to be interested. They're going to make phone calls. Now, is it going to be like a Bryce Harper thing where it's like, hey, what if we gave you 4 years and $300 million? Like, what if we gave you a 4-year deal at $75 million a year rather than a $700 million deal? Like, I could see them being interested at that level. I just find it hard to believe they would look at Soto and say, financially, we can't. I just don't think it's going to get to that point because I don't think the Yankees can afford to lose him. They can obviously afford to pay him. And so that's kind of where it lands for me has less to do with the Dodgers and more to do with Soto and where he lands with the Yankees.
The Dodgers like the short length, high AAV kind of deal. I could see them definitely going that route and saying, hey, if you want to hit free agency again, you're only, 20, whatever you are, 24 or something like that. We can get you back into free agency at 27 or 28. Like, I'm sure they make that pitch, but he's going to go for the guaranteed money. I don't think he does something like that.
Look, Juan Soto's 25 years old. So when Dodgers are calling up these prospects, keep in mind that Juan Soto's like the same age as like River Ryan, Justin Robleski. Like he's the same age as those guys. And yet this is a guy that has 3 seasons of 5.5 wins and above replacement or more in the last 6. And he's already at 5.5 this year through 94 games played. He's one of the best players in baseball. You can make a case he's one of the best hitters of all time. That's how good this guy is. The on-base percentage has literally never been below 400 at any season of his career. He's hitting 295 while hitting 23 home runs. So we're talking about a 400 on-base guy who hits, 35 home runs last year. He's one of the best hitters ever, has an incredible eye, doesn't strike out a ton. So it's hard not to be interested. One more super chat and then we'll go. John Bleeding Blue prediction here. Ohtani wins the home run derby next year. That's my pick. So he doesn't think Teoscar is going to defend the crown successfully, huh?
Yeah. Hey, look, I think if Ohtani was ever going to do it again, it would have been this year.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to worry about pitching or anything like that. So I think he's done with it.
Do we know where the All-Star game is next year? I can't. I just know for some guys the location. I think it was Todd Frazier on the or it was Ken Griffey Jr. Oh, it's in Atlanta next year. So that's not going to make a difference. But I think it was Griffey. They asked him which one meant the most. And he said, I think it was Detroit. And it was like, oh, I grew up like 30 minutes away from there, wherever it was. So, I'm with you. I can't imagine Ohtani. It'd be hard to see him participating, especially if it's a season when he's pitching, especially if it's his first season back as a pitcher. And again, if Teoscar is a Dodger, they typically don't have 2 guys on the same team. And you can't not invite the guy who won it last year. Like, I feel like Teoscar just punched his ticket. So we'll see how that one plays out. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Again, super fun to have you here. Teoscar Hernandez, the first Dodger to ever win a home run derby. We're going to be live again tomorrow night. Blake Williams and myself following the All-Star game. Anthony, myself, Matt, and Blake will be back on Wednesday night. Scott and Blake on Thursday night. So tons of great content coming at you. If you have not yet already, subscribe and ring the notification bell. 6 nights a week, live content. We've also got tons of morning sort of videos recorded. We've got a mid-season prospect update. We've got an MLB draft recap video that's going to be coming in the next couple of days. So tons of content. We greatly appreciate all of you who are supporting us, coming on, joining us on the show, dropping us super chats. We appreciate it. That is Anthony Witrado. I am Jeff Spiegel, folks. Enjoy the rest of your night. And as always, go Dodgers.